G'day, ZiggyD here, and in this video I'm going to be giving you guys a review, aggregation, and my first impressions of the new tactical classic RPG, Pillars of Eternity. The point of this video is to help you guys decide whether this is a game that you should go ahead and buy. Especially since at the price tag of $45, it's a bit more expensive than some of the games that are coming out these days that have been kickstarted or indie titles. We're getting a lot of $10 and $20 games that are absolutely fantastic these days, and $45 is something you're gonna have to consider a little bit more. So this is a bit of a different style of video for some of you guys, I'm sure, but what I'm actually going to do is take all of the different reviews that have come out so far, kind of aggregate their scores, aggregate their impressions for you guys, form my impressions from those reviews, and tell you guys the buying decision I would make based on those things, and recommend the game based on what I've played so far with my review copy I've had for a few days, and sort of help you guys connect with this game if this is a game that you'd be interested in. So guys, at the very beginning here, I'm going to start off by throwing this straight out there. If you were a massive fan of Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights, those types of games, those classic RPGs, but especially the Baldur's Gate games, the answer is yes, you should buy this game. All of the reviews have one thing in common, that this game lives up to the hype of the games that inspired it. It's an Infinity Engine style game, and it does a fantastic job of capturing what made those games brilliant. Video Gamer had this to say: "The game Obsidian always wanted to make, and the result is its finest work." Eurogamer followed up with "Pillars of Eternity is the Baldur's Gate 3 we never got, returning to the Infinity Engine style of role-playing with flair." PC Gamer said, giving it a 92 out of 100, "A deep, rich, and wonderfully written RPG that lives up to the towering legacy of games that inspired it." And The Escaper said, 5 out of 5, "Bottom line is, it's the best new isometric RPG to come out in years." Based on my first impression so far as well, this game really captured the magic, the exploration, the wonder, and the fear that I had when playing Baldur's Gate 1. There's just so much to this world. It's such a detailed and beautifully woven tapestry. The writing is fantastic, the artwork is impeccable, the combat is deep and satisfying from what I've experienced so far, even in the early game. So guys, if you were a massive fan of the Baldur's Gate titles, then this is definitely a game you want to consider picking up. Now, all of you Baldur's Gate fans have probably gone out and bought the game now, so the rest of this video is actually targeted at you guys who maybe played a little Baldur's Gate, maybe kind of liked it, or maybe didn't even play it at all and are wondering, this looks like a new cool RPG, is this going to be something I like? And the answer is it's not a game that's for everyone. These sorts of games definitely aren't for everyone. I'm going to try and help you guys figure out whether you fall into the category of being someone who's going to really enjoy what's great about this game, or really not enjoy what this game offers, because it is a very specific style of game. Pillars of Eternity is a deep and slower paced, heavy role-playing based game. That means there is large amounts of text. Most of it is voice acted, but not all of it. There is large amounts of role-playing where you play as your character and make decisions in your character's shoes, interacting with other people. There's a lot of exploration and searching, and then there is a lot of combat. Now the combat is real time, which you can let play out in real time if you're willing to play on the easiest difficulty, but any higher difficulty than that, then you're going to need to make use of the active pause system. Basically, pressing spacebar anytime in combat will pause it, and you can issue commands to each of your party members and have them do specific things, and you need to do this liberally. Combat is very stop-start once you're actually playing on a harder difficulty and once you're making use of those tactics. Now, there are thankfully a bunch of options you can enable that allow the game to auto-pause on certain situations, like if one of your allies becomes low health, if you spot an enemy, or if certain things happen, the game will be able to auto-pause. There's heaps of customization there, so you can set up combat to play out exactly as you'd like. But this sort of real-time, active pausing combat style system is definitely not for everyone. I would say to fully appreciate this, you have to be someone who enjoys tactical, more strategic combat, and especially games that are a little bit slower paced with their combat, even though this can be quite fast if left unpaused. However, although it can appear fast in actual combat, it is not an action combat game. This is not the sort of thing where you use dual analog sticks to position your character and have a fun time beating down on enemies. It is much more of a thinking man's combat. Now, the other thing to keep in mind approaching Pillars of Eternity as a bit of an outsider to the fandom of this genre is that Pillars of Eternity is being made by Obsidian Entertainment for fans of a very specific genre of game that has kind of been away from the gaming scene for a while. Recently, we've had a couple of CRPGs come out, like Wasteland 2 and Divinity Original Sin, but there was kind of a dry spell of these style of games for a while, so there's a chance you hadn't really been exposed to it, and maybe don't even fully appreciate what a lot of people found magical about it. Now, this was one of the earliest styles of RPGs to come out in terms of PC gaming. There's a reason it's called CRPG, and that is literally that it means computer RPG. So this was from a time when most RPGs were played tabletop, and then they transitioned over onto computers and were distinguished by the fact that they were played on a computer. So if you're a big fan of modern, more action-oriented RPGs, then that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to like Pillars of Eternity, because RPG might have a different connotation for you. If you fall into that category, I suggest going through and watching a little bit of gameplay. I have a couple parts up already of my playthrough of the game. You could watch maybe 2-3 parts of that, and without really getting any too major spoilers, you know, just from early parts of the game, then you would be able to sort of tell what style of game this is and whether you would like to do it. And I recommend that's what you guys do, who are a bit of outsiders to this genre. Now, I have to say, guys, this is both my first impressions and my aggregation of all the reviews I've seen. This is a fantastic game. It's an absolutely great game. It is not a perfect game. There are some little nitpicky things that people are going to have problems with. MMORPG.com, for example, giving it a 9 out of 10, said, "Is Pillars of Eternity a perfect game? No, but it is an incredibly good one." Pixel Dynamo also said, "I have a few complaints to make, none of which tainted my playthrough in any significant way." The thing is that, especially if you are a fan of this style of game and play a lot of Baldur's Gate, you'll notice some of these things, and they may niggle at you a little bit, but they're not really going to detract from how good this game is, and how good a take it is on these classic style of games. I highly recommend to you guys the review video by Husk Gaming, the YouTuber, who put out his review that included a lot of these little nitpicky points. He gave the game a very positive review. Overall, he's absolutely in love with the game with 50 hours played, but he did do a very good job of capturing some of those little minor annoyances that some of you guys might encounter. For example, he detailed the fact that stat builds don't necessarily match up with role-playing very well, because building a wizard with strength in this game actually makes sense because it enhances damage, but that means your wizard's going to be doing things like lifting heavy boulders. That's fine if you want to make a very burly wizard, and those sorts of things can exist, but if you wanted to play the more intelligent, physically weak wizard, then that's not going to match up with the min-maxing of stats. That's just one example of some of the sort of little tiny things that might annoy you. The important point to note, though, that is despite these little flaws, the game also does a lot in terms of pushing this older style of genre forwards. They very easily could have gone back and just made a better graphics version of Baldur's Gate and kept with it all of the same things that haven't aged so well and that a lot of people, you know, actually didn't like that much, except for when they're looking through massive, very thick nostalgia glasses. So all in all, this game has been rated very highly. The aggregate review score from Day 1 reviews have been a solid 9 out of 10 across the board. It's also picked up some 10 out of 10s from a few reviewers, and my first impressions of the game have been extremely favourable. Now again, guys, if you'd like to see some gameplay before making your decision, I do have a playthrough of the game that is going up on my YouTube channel. I have a couple episodes up already, and I'll link those in the description below for you, as well as the reviews that I've used in this aggregate review video. I hope this video helps you guys make your decision on whether this is a game you want to pick up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. That's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.